Hey people, Intro here, TV3, SD Province, blue team, it's very green. Got a bunch of green skins ready to do some crumping. We have Orconero as a Warboss and Ghaz as another Warboss. These are melee heroes that walk through objects, very good offense, disruption and support from the front lines. Relatively angry fellows too. Do they have the same color scheme? No. Rounding off this team is Hellion as a Kommando knob, infiltrating hero that shoots you, stabs you and blows you up. Orky style begins with a twin link shooter. Red team, Bum9 as a plague champion starts off with a damage of a time bolt gun, can get melee weapons, some strong utility and support, can also repair. You have some Thousand Suns elite scheme here. Alongside Jadow, where's he gone to? There he is, as a Warlock, a melee spellcaster that leaps into combat, some powerful disruption and support. There he goes, knocking the Warboss off the cap. I'm sure he won't be too upset about that. And rounding off the teams, funnyman2u as a Hive Tyrant, a durable hero, walks through objects and cannot be suppressed with powerful offense, disruption and support. Begins in melee with a basic synapse. I shall call you Alfredo. They're on the east side against the Kommando, kicking off in the mid as we saw Banshees surrounding the Warboss. They already used their stomps, they're in big trouble here. Banshees can mess up a low level hero quite badly. Now they're in on the Shooter Boys. Shooter Boys trying to split and shoot. Guardians pouring in some damage at the same time though. Oh, the Warlock went down, look. Did not even catch that. The Warlock went down. I'm sure the Sluggers caught them. On the west side, Warboss just knocked over some CSM. Doom blasting heretics coming in. Plague Champion just pouring on some DPS as much as they can. These Sluggers have burners up already. Couple of power weapons and of course Orky fire. Looks like the Sluggers are dealt with. Not sure why the CSM, were they trying to get into melee with the Sluggers there? Maybe. They were charging forward. And the Orks will take the western contested victory point on the east side. Alfredo the Hive Tyrant is very low. Gets a Bioplasma up. Here we go. Oh, couldn't quite get it done. It's got a long wind-up animation of Bioplasma. It was trying to shoot at these double shooter boys. They were all bunched up on the garrison entrance there, trying to Bioplasma their faces off, and got shot to death. So 2 heroes down for the red team. Not ideal. Maybe the Plague Champion can mosey their way over there. Take a while though. There's the Cyborg Implants, big stomp from the Warboss. Anything for Ghaz? Nope. I see Mucus Discharge on the way for Bum9. Did these guys get... They got some XP before they went down. Double CSM here for the Chaos Space Marines with... Oh. And they've got Eternal War up on both already. No Aspiring Champion or anything though. This might be Bum9's attempt to rotate mid and get that revive. Then maybe the Warlock can sprint over to the east side and get the Hive Tyrant. Jumping in though are Storm Boys. Big threat to those Chaos Space Marines with their power melee weapons. Here comes the Doom Blast. Warboss looking for the stomp. No, not looking for the stomp. The Storm Boys took huge amounts of damage there from the Plague Champion and the double CSM with Eternal War all shooting them. As well as the Heretics in there of course. Sluggers are dealt with. Double CSM putting in huge amounts of work here. Look at the DPS. They really do pack a punch in tier 1 if you can get them up quickly. Might want something else as well though. Maybe some more Heretics, I say. Having 2 Heretic squads around is awesome. Shuriken trying to set up. Plague Champion looks like they're going for the revive. There's Ard Boys on these Sluggers. Global buff from the Warboss giving him 25% damage resist. Seems like it was wasted there. Tyranids coming rotating mid now as well. There's some suppression from aiming. What's that? Oh, Plague Champion got caught. They did get the revive though. Oh, Hive Tyrant's back. Maybe funnyman2u repurchased. Maybe? Must have, right? Yeah. Well, they're all up. They all survived. Plague Champion barely got out. And they've gone for some Havocs. That might mean Orconero responds with Storm Boys. Or they might just sort of try to play around them. Or maybe Ghaz could support with their Storm Boys. Hellion also has some. Speaking of Storm Boys, fighting some Howling Banshees and some Hormagaunts here. Hormagaunts don't have their adrenal glands, but they're still a threat early on. So many models getting hits in. 8 of them. Sluggers getting torn up on retreat. Yeah, Orks are losing a lot in those exchanges, I feel like. They're not trading super well at the moment. I don't think they've killed a Marine. They've killed a bunch of heretics. And they seem to be losing those brawls. They need to get good stomps in those brawls, I think. We have a Bang Bang Hammer Warboss and Angry Bits. That's going to help. Disruption is fantastic when you're in a brawl. And now they can stomp and use the Angry Bits charge over there, Ghaz. Red VP here. Heretics have an aspiring champion. CSM trying to grab this contested wreck point. Havocs are up, as you can see, and there is that Breath of Nurgle. The sweet, fresh Breath of Nurgle. Should be a fragrance. Warboss trying to commit here. Sluggers are a bit behind, but it's probably wise to send the Warboss in first to soak up some damage. Havocs are now suppressing them. I'm not sure if they knew that Havocs were here. Didn't expect them to try to push with Havocs in play. Warboss is gotten rid of. They suppressed the Havocs with aiming what's that, and they're using it to push, and here comes Stormboys. This is why I wouldn't have got Havocs myself, because Stormboys are a massive threat to them, especially when there are two Warbosses that can use your choppers on them. In that instance, they jumped on them and just kind of wandered off somewhere else. Didn't actually hit the Havocs. Power bashing Orks now on this northwestern power. Oh, and on the northeastern power. Bash the node, bash all the gens. Almost got a decap, it looks like. Some good pushes there from the Orks. Great time to bash at the end of tier 1. Oh, funnyman2u's in tier 2 already. They didn't get anything else up in tier 1. I don't know if they've used that. They must have used the bioplasma. I haven't seen it. I wonder what the minimum range for bioplasma is. Can't use it on something that's in melee with you, can you? With the amount of time the animation takes, they could probably still dodge it if they were in melee. Good power bash. Got all the gens and the node. Well played, Ghaz. Gets away safely with those Bang Bang Hammer buffs. Orconero comes back in to pick up the slack on the west side now. Try to hold this VP. There might be 2v1 though. Warlock with the Merciless Witchblade. Awesome weapon. Big DPS. Knockback on ranged attack. And we drain energy. There's a Destructor. These guys do have their battle equipment. And the Banshees have the aspect of fleetness. They can jump over things. Warboss tries to charge through, suppressed. Angry Bits does buff the health regen when they're used. Now I'm angry. And their damage. That's what that yellow hexagon you see there is. Trying to get onto the powers. A bunch of angry Orks here though, including Sluggers with their Nob Leader. No sign of it yet for the Stormboys. They went for Weird Boy up, which could do huge amounts of work here. Tyrant Guard on the field for Funnyman, which can be a problem for Orks. They don't have access to plasma weaponry or really a huge amount of power weapons aside from the Stormboys. So that could mince things quite well. Might be able to carry Funnyman all the way to tier 3, but they've got a Venom Brood up as well. Can get the ranged Synapse and buff the Termagants. Here's the Weird Boy. Powerful anti-infantry sub-commander for Orks. Can stun, can do tons of damage, and can support his own infantry as well. Warlock, not quite level 2 yet. Pretty damn close. Is everyone else level 2? Oh, funnyman2u's almost level 2 as well. We got Rending Talons up, because there is a lot of Orky melee. 2 Stormboys and 3 Slugger squads. Yeah, not to mention the heroes, of course. Might be a big 2v2 fight here. Stormboys do have their Nob Leader now. There is the Warp Vomit. They're going to use it to push. Stunning the Shuriken. I'm sure they'd like to get more in that stun, but couldn't quite manage it. Orks now swarming towards the east, trying to stop this power bash. That is a lot of Orks over there. What are you going to do about this, funny man? Hive Tyrant levels up. They need to get a good seismic roar here, I think. Oh, they're trying to bioplasma, but they got stunned. There's the seismic roar. Venom Brood getting torn up. They are heavy infantry, and the Storm Boys, they just got gutted. Yeah, the stun really hurt Funnyman. I think they were trying to get a bioplasma on something. It looked like they were starting to wind it up, and now the Tyrant God has no chance. Use your choppers on the Storm Boys, make such quick work of them, especially with those bang bang hammer buffs. And we have cyborg implants here too. Over on the west side, there's some crumping to be done. Heretics get knocked all over the gaff by the big stomp. Plague Champion has Armor of Pestilence. Why would you get Armor of Pestilence here? Why not that fetid armor for the Unholy Stench? Suppress some stuff. Usually you'd get Armor of Pestilence because you want a melee build, or maybe the Bile Spear, which also causes you to get closer. I mean, just having tons of durability is good, but if you're just sitting back shooting your bolt gun, those resources could maybe be spent elsewhere. It might be that they just getting ready to grab the Plague Fist later on. They've lost their heretics. We've got Wraith Lord up for Jadow, which should be good. I mean, I said that about the Tyrant Guard, and they just used your choppers on the Storm Boys and it was gone. But that was mainly facilitated by the fact that funnyman2u got flanked really hard and couldn't escape cleanly. Really nice warp vomit on those Banshees there. Such a nice ability. Look how long that stun is. It's nuts. It doesn't affect allies either. Double CSM with their aspiring champions. So they were popping their slaughter there. And here is the Wraith Lord with a shoulder-mounted shuriken. Almost 47 piercing DPS just on the shuriken on its shoulder. Also has a catapult on the wrist. And of course a big old sword. A ghost glaive, I think they call it. Got some anti-vehicle though. Beamy Death Gun. Warlock gets on it. There is a Foot of Orc. They did a good job to avoid it. That is a weird boy ability. Does huge amounts of damage. Wraith Lord's in there. Trying to chop through some of the sluggers, I think. Maybe he's backing off now. Why are they backing off? Need to keep pressure up, I think. Okay, the anti-vehicle has retreated. I think they were just trying to be cautious there with their Wraith Lord. They didn't know what else was ahead. Here come more Orks. Now the the Storm Boy Nob Leader has a heavy melee weapon. Doesn't typically want to fight a Wraith Lord though. There's another Foot of Orc. Again, it was dodged. Plague Champion throws the heal up. And I think they just used Aura of Decay. But yeah, but the range on it is very, very small. You basically need to be in melee with stuff for it to knock them back. Now goes to the revive and gets it. Hits level 4. I think the Plague Champion could be doing so much more work with the Bile Spewer or just any of the melee weapons, you know, getting stuck in there. I'm sure they've done some good work with their bolt gun. Wraith Lord's in trouble. Hard Boys and user choppers on the Storm Boys who have that heavy melee weapon. And is that weird boy Warpath thing? They are. +2 speed and 20% damage resist around him. Warp Vomit and a Foot of Gork. It's 2 weird boys now, mixing it up. There's the bigger brains for over there. Wraith Lord survives. Plague Champion, I think, is trying to repair it, but it's running away. There we go. Maybe. Map looking quite blue. Tier 3s all around us, aside from Jadow. They spent a bunch of power on the Wraith Lord. There's that Seismic Roar. Gormagaunt's coming in. They don't have Adrenal Glands, though. Zoanthrope getting shots. I wonder if it would have been worth going heavier into melee over here for Funnyman. Getting melee Synapse and some Gene Stealers up and upgrading those Hormogaunts. Might have just led to a Death Dread coming out. But then you can counter that, I suppose. Neurothrope on the way for Funnyman. Kommando's already on the field, as you may have spotted from Hellion. Warboss charging in. Charging into suppression, though. And there's the big stomp. Gives up. Got hit by their own foot of Gork. Big push from the Orks. The other Warboss is in. Another big stomp. That time they got to finish it. Some friendly fire, of course, from the Weird Boy. It wouldn't be a Orc match with a Weird Boy without some friendly fire. Wraithlord being used in ranged stance a lot here, which is nothing wrong with that. Does huge amounts of damage. Swampum popped by the sluggers, but they had to retreat anyway, and the Plague Champion gets on the cap. Tier 3 for Jadow. Ghaz has a tank making its way to the west side. Can't knock over the Plague Champion because of that Armor of Pestilence. I think Unholy Stench would have been so good here. Stormboy's got wrecked. Can they make it out? Here comes a tank. Banshees need to be very careful now. Jadow gets them away. Wraithlord just pouring on the DPS from range. Plague Champion still in it. Armor of Pestilence and level 5 is quite a tough boy. Can they get on the VP though? Over on the east side, Neuro Throat runs, Zone Throat runs. Kind of odd that they went for a Zone Throat and a Neuro Throat when they're up against Storm Boys that can jump on them. And now a Nob squad on the way for Hellion. funnyman2u goes for a Lictor. Oh no, Alfredo's down. On the east side, level 3. Blue team have the rosters, but they have a VP deficit here. Red team with the VP lead. Bum9's been pretty solid on the west side despite their losses. It just went straight to tier 3. For Nurgle tanks maybe? Tanks do quite well on the west side of S tier here. Can do quite well through the mid as well. There is that Lictor. As heavy melee talons. Can leap, can flesh hook, and can infiltrate for free. Pretty awesome sub-commander for the Tyranids. Is Jadow going to work on getting the Hive Tyrant back on his feet? Get their natural VP back. Looks like maybe they're moving that way. Orks, though, setting up on the west side. And Orks setting up just means lots of boys. Lots of fellas ready to crump. Another Nub squad here for Orconero. Mina and Green are on the way. These guys already have their EU jammers. It looks like that was the first upgrade they got. Chaos Predator on the way for Bum9 indeed. Don't have the red for Terminators, but Lightning Claws might be super amazing over there. Storm Boys jump the Lictor. And there's Foot of Gork on a Tyranid blob. Oh, they were forced to retreat there. Just completely changed the fight, that Foot of Gork, and now Jadow's in trouble, 2v1. Is the Wraithlord going to be alright here? Tank is chasing, and there's Warpath and Storm Boys, and Tank is getting shots. I think it might be over for a Wraithlord. This is when you want an allied Chaos Sorcerer around to save your stuff. Down it goes. That was a paroxysm to try and slow things down and help out the Wraithlord, but it came a bit too late. Fire Prism on the way now for Jadow. Meanwhile, the Orks bash the power, and they hold the west side. There is a Shuriken. Oh, just ran away. Didn't want to be alone anymore. Warboss trying to get a cap. Got the decap though. Double now for blue team. Neuro Throat using Spirit Leech to drain some energy off the Commandos, I think that was. Hormagaunt's barely making it out. What were they trying to do? Maybe they were trying to cap that eastern contested power. Picking off through the mid then. Nurgle tank is in with those stinking Nurgle autocannon rounds that do damage over time. Got health regen, melee synapse, or not melee synapse, melee resistance. And a huge amount of health, this thing. Decent anti-infantry tank that's very tough. Down goes the looted tank. Push it up too far there. Carnifex on the way for Funnyman. Here comes a Nob squad with those heavy melee choppers. Even with melee resistance and a bunch of health, you don't want to sit around and let a Nob squad smack you out. There's over there, getting a bunch of Orks into play. including the Warboss himself, got thrown in there. Warlock poking at things with Champion's Robe on the way. I'm not sure why the Orks pushed so hard. Were they trying to get the Fire Prism? I guess they were just made for fighting, and they wanted to do some fighting. Plague Champion still with that Plague Bolter, whatever it's called. I'm not sure if it has an official name. Level 5 though. What's this? Just Storm Boys hanging out. Nob squad here. Fully upgraded now for Hellion. Each of the players has a Nob squad. And these guys, didn't these guys get a few changes, I think, in 299? I think they got some buffs. I think one of their upgrades is slightly cheaper now, because they're very expensive to fully upgrade a Nob squad. Double the Mark of Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. They'll do huge damage to the Nob squads with their Inferno Bolts. And they're level 3. Just fantastic anti-infantry in general. Those guys got busted up. Are they allowing these shooters to just die to free up population here, Orconero? It might be. It might be they just want to replace them with flash kits or something. There's a Foot of Gork. Not even a Plague Champion with the Armor of Pestilence can stand up to that. Yet both the shooters are gone, and I suspect Orconero let them die to free up upkeep and population. Noble tank doing some good work. Got a decent chunk of XP already through the mid though. Oh, Carnifex is down. Got caught by the Nob squad and the Storm Boys. Was it even upgraded? Don't know. It might have been a Thornback maybe. Big loss of Funnyman. Here comes a Seer Council for Jadow. Looks like Alfredo the Hive Tyrant also went down. Was a Tyranno formation, but it wasn't enough. I believe those Tyranno formation spires still give you some kind of buff, but not as much as when they first pop up, maybe. Oh hey, there's that Plague Fist. Going for the revive, maybe? Yes, I think going for the revive. Maybe they both are. Just trying to help out. 189 to 51. Decent VP lead now for the Orks. And they're doing... yeah, they're pushing well through the mid. They're not overextended and losing a bunch of stuff. I mean, they lost their tank, but they're doing a bunch of damage. Seer Council almost up. Venom Brood on the way for Funnyman. To get Death Spitters maybe for the Nobs. There's no bulky vehicles. Kommando got repurchased. Has a rocket launcher. Fantastic anti-vehicle weapon. Here comes a trophy rack for this Warboss to debuff things around him. Enemies, that is, of course. There's the Seer Council. They'll be very helpful against the Nob squad because they have good disruption and lots of power melee DPS, not to mention the damage resistance aura to ranged fire, which is always handy. Lictor tried to get onto the VP, couldn't quite manage it. But he's keeping them, he's making them keep something back there. Warboss charging through. Big fight brewing on the west side. Storm Boys jumping in. There's the Seer Council to counter-initiate. They have a las cannon over here for some reason. Did they have... oh, they had the tank at some point, right. Warp Vomit. Might get that Shuriken killed. Yeah, Shuriken's going to die. It could have got away, I think. Suppose Jadow's busy looking elsewhere. Seer Council onto the Warboss. Nob squad in on the Havocs. There's a Autarch drop. That'll provide some more defensive buffs. And a Rocks going on over here against the Tyranids. Looks like they survived it okay-ish. I'm not sure if some other stuff died. Got them off the field though a lot. Warboss with a big old stomp. And there is an Imperial Abyss from the Plague Champion. It's all Nurgle-like. Probably smells quite bad. And it was decent in the fact that it made everything run away. Not sure how much actual damage it wrought, but sneaky Kommando trying to get on these vehicles, getting some good rear armor shots, but that's all they can do. If they were getting rear armor shots on the Fire Prism, they need like 2 or 3 to take it down. Hive Tyrant hits level 5. Plague Champion is level 7, almost level 8. And looks like they've retreated off there to get some health back. Maybe a shrine over here would be good, eh? A Nurgly shrine. These guys watching the VP because this Lictor is constantly on it, I guess. Oh, and they're being spotted by the shooter's Nob Leader. They can see sneaky things. Might be worth to send in a Lictor Alpha down here to bash the power. Get some XP and stuff. Red team with a 2-to-1. Zoanthrope, Neurothrope, level 5 Hive Tyrant. Another Chaos Predator on the way for Bum9. They are down to just 2 units. And Orks have pretty full army rosters right now. Another Carnifex on the way for Funnyman. Going to be under a lot of threat. All the knobs, the Commandos, and the Kommando knob. And a looted tank over there. Plague Champion is building a turret. Doesn't actually have Heretics to get a shrine. Oh, Heretics are on the way. Is it going to be double Nurgle tanks? I'd probably get Mark of Khorne for that one. Speed and DPS is great. These guys are trying to repair. It is indeed going to be another Nurgle tank. I'm sure it'll do well. Heavy Bolt the turret. Got a little bit of a burst in, but couldn't quite suppress things. Doesn't seem as effective as the Tech Marine turret at actually suppressing stuff, but it has a much wider firing arc. Over there. And they're straight onto the tank. Then they got stunned by something. Not sure what they got stunned by there. Was there a Kommando stun bomb in there somewhere? Warboss, I think, is going to be okay. Big push from the Orc. Got some infiltrated knobs there too. Kommando knob going for that tank. Needs one more shot. Couldn't quite get it there. Knob squad have found a Zoanthrope, which isn't going to last long. Down it goes so fast. Kommando still looking in base for that tank. Now going after the other tank. So just gonna stand and trade with him. And they're suppressed now by the base turret, so they have to leave back towards the VP. Another looted tank. Looks like the Orcs maybe got enough done with their brute force tactics. Not the most nuanced of pushes, but what do you expect? What's going on elsewhere? Red team have got through onto the natural. Well played, Funnyman. They've got a Stranglethorn Cannon Carnifex and some Death Spitters Venom Brood fellas. Here comes a Slugger squad though. They're probably high level. Yeah, level 4. Stranglethorn does get the suppression somehow. Didn't seem like it hit there. And here comes some Spore Mines. That was a good shot. Spore Mines can detonate maybe. Where are they going? There we go. There's some detonation. These guys might die. They have died. I'm not sure if they were even being paid attention to there. Looted tank almost down. Sorry, Chaos tank almost down. Looted tank is doing a bit better. 26 to 51. Double cap for the red team. What an awesome fight back. Can the Hive Tyrant deal with the shooter boys? They're pretty much full health, so it seems like it. They got them off it. Single now for red. And they go back for the cap. West side. A Rocks. Those 2 Nurgle tanks did actually really well for the red team over here for Bum9. Orconero's down to the Sluggers. I don't know if they can get back on this Western VP. There's the GG and a single cap. Well played Funnyman, this cap through the mid, eh? Didn't actually get it at the end, but it was enough. The decap was enough to get them a single and a victory. Awesome stuff. Level 5 Warboss here for Orconero. Level 4 Warboss for Ghaz. Level 6 Kommando. Level 9 Plague Champion, bloody hell. Level 6 Warlock had the Witchblade of Kurnus at the end and Heart of Darkness. And a level 5 Hive Tyrant Alfredo. Strong start from the Orcs. And they had strong armies throughout. Just that big fight. That big fight really swung it. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.